Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial I want to take today. Today's video I am going to be showing you how you can quickly create this Valentine's flyer. It's very simple looking Valentine flyer that I did, and for social media, basically it's a social media design, for your Instagram or your Facebook, your Twitter. And the first thing you want to know is, because I won't want to waste time, I want us to achieve this in the fastest way possible. So the first thing you want to know about this is, for this design, the concept I had in mind was we are offering our hearts to the clients. So that is the concept. That is why there is a hand. There are two pair of hands and holding the love sign, the heart sign, and the heart sign is actually like two it's like two splitted shapes combined to form the heart, right? So that is like the concept for the design. Very simple, and we're going to be achieving that right now. So the first thing you want to do is create a document. You can call it, for me, let's just save this one. Let's call it heart flyer. Say heart flyer. Let's just save this. So, and the first thing you want to do is create your own document like I did, and then add. In my own case, I have the design here, so I'm just going to add a second page. I'll be looking at this and try to create it as usual. So first thing I'll do is come to my second page, double click on the rectangle tool to create a box that is just exactly the size of my document, 4x4. And the next thing I want to do is I want to introduce my creations. I want to create this object and achieve this thing before I start adding my text. And I think mostly for designs, for graphic design, especially when it comes to flyers, the first thing you want to always do is create a background, then build on your background with like images, and then you start adding your text. I feel like when you're doing your designs, you have to fill your pictures, your main subject, your background, and your main subject in, and then the spaces that you generate, you can use them to fill in the text. You understand? So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we'll do after creating the box is to just give it a color. So I like to select this and just say white for now. Let's just make it white. You will not notice much difference because obviously the background too is white. So we add a white to the image, and then we come straight to creating this heart shape, right? So for this heart shape, the first thing we want to do is we want to create a circle. I'm just going to take a circle like so, put a circle here, and I'm going to duplicate this same circle. I'll press Ctrl D, and then I'll have it like in the middle here, like that. Let me just go back and see. All right, and yeah, I think we're making sense. So we can now generate this middle area. So to do that, we have two options available to us. We could select both of them and go to the properties bar from here and click on the intersect to create a shape from where they both intersect each other, which is this place, which is really cool. Or we can use the second option. We'll go down here on the tools box where we have the interactive field, to click on the tiny arrow there, select the smart fill, and fill the middle area to generate the shape. So whichever one is okay for you, you do it. So right now we'll select this, and then we double click on it, and let's delete these two at the sides because I'm thinking it will be better. Then select this one at the top, go to the properties bar and change the blend mode, or sorry, the node to a symmetrical node. Yeah, so this kind of like does it for us. A symmetrical node is a node that allows you to modify both sides of the line on the border equally. If I push this arrow out, notice how the other controller at the other side is going out, and it's affecting both sides of the line, both lines at the both sides of the line on the node rather. So yeah, so anytime you push or pull, it affects both of them equally. If you go this way, it affects them equally. That's what a symmetrical node does for you. So right now we can select this one at the bottom and then drag it all the way down the B, just like that. We could have done that all the way from the beginning. And if you feel like you need to maybe slim out this one a bit, you could do that like this. You could do that. Now I wouldn't advise you to touch this and touch this, because when you do that you might not get the same reading for them. So if you feel like you've touched it and you maybe you feel like you need to have it equal on both sides, then you could split the shape into two by selecting something like maybe the freehand tool. Click here, then hold your shift and drag down. just click, release your mouse, hold your shift, then drag down and click here. So make sure this is at the center. Select it, select the line first, hold your shift, and select the shape and press C. So you can see where the center is on this shape right here. It's telling us that this is the center. So if this is actually the center, we can move this to touch the center, right? And yeah, you can see that this shape too needs to be at the center. Yeah. So with this achieved, we could just decide to generate one part of the line. Could be here, could be here, depends, whichever one you like. So you could select your your smart fill, and let's fill this part. Then grab the part, do Ctrl C, Ctrl V, then hold Ctrl, grab from the left hand side and flip it, and select both of them and use your. After selecting both of them, you could choose to weld it together, or you could just come down to the create boundary and do that, and it will just create a boundary from the whole shape, from both shapes combined. So you could delete this, you could delete this, you could delete this. Then we have this nice shape here. So if we go back here, we see that it's actually exactly one part of the shape, right? So which means we need two. So we select it and then we rotate it. We click on it again. Let's go back and see. Yeah, so we rotate it like some degrees. So hold Control and then we grab one of the rotations, that is these corners. You click first to select your scaling tools, then you click again to generate your rotation tools and your skewing tools. So for you to rotate, you hold any one of the four corners, you hold your Control, you grab this and you bend it like this. I think it bends at 15 degrees each when you hold your Control. So the more you hold your Control, the more you bend, it goes 15, 30, 45 like that. You can see from here. So let's leave it at 15 degrees. Now you do a Control C and Control V to copy and paste the same shape. You paste on the same position. If you move it out, you see there's something pasted already. Now you rotate again. So but this time around you click on it, and instead of just rotating first, you grab this origin. This thing here is called the origin point. So you grab it and move it all the way to the bottom node there, the node there, the bottom there, and then you hold your Control again and you rotate from there. Now the reason you did that is because you want that place to be your origin point. So when you're rotating, watch this, as you're rotating it stays on that point. So you want to have it staying on that point, so you could just bring it out. You don't have to hold your Control. So far you set it there. Once you're rotating, it will be on that pivot. And with that, we've achieved our heart shapes, right? I think our heart shapes are good. Yeah, looks bigger or nice. And just to remind us, everything we are creating here, we're going to be creating from scratch. It is actually one of the sweet things about being a designer is you want to make sure that everything you're generating in the design, you're generating it by yourself. That gives you a sense of satisfaction. So right now we've done this, and we don't necessarily even have to get to this point. We could just work on one part of the heart shape and then duplicate it. So let's go back and see. First thing we want to notice is that it's actually red, which is like the color of the heart. So we select this one, we apply red on it. Select the other one, we apply red on it as well. And then the next thing we want to see is, well, we have to, I think it's not just a red, it's a gradient. So you see there's a lighter red and a darker red here. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll select this one and then we'll bring it to the front. We'll do shift page up, shift and page up, bring it to the front. So we make it a gradient by pressing G. Once you press G, you go to your interactive field tool, and then on interactive field from the property bar, you locate your fountain field, but make sure you're selecting the shape. Locate your fountain field, and with your fountain field, you have the option to add 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors, as much colors as you like on a particular object's field. So right now we'll grab this, take it to the top, grab this, bring it down, and you can see by default it's using a white and red. The red is already the color we filled, so it's adding a white to it by default. So select this, we have to change this white to a lighter shade of red. So we go into the shape, and we could actually use our eyedropper and pick red, and then from that red we could just move a bit into the less saturated sides, just to make it lighter, and we close that up, and that looks cool. For this one we could leave it the way it is, or let's check. Yeah, it's pretty much good, but I think we need to have a darker shade down here because we are making it look like two shapes. One is on top of the other, So since this one is overlapping the other one, we need to darken the base. So select this one, press G as well, and then we go to the fountain, and we drag this to the top, right, like this, and then bring this one all the way down, and then we change the color by clicking and using the red again, but this time around bring the red a bit to the bottom so it darkens a bit, and we'll say okay. So we close this, and yes, we are done. So you can see that the shapes are already looking like they have a bit of something going on with them. And at this point you could choose to remove the outlines because we don't work with that. So select both of them, you go to the properties bar, you change the outlines to none, and there you have that beautiful heart shape. So right now we've generated the heart. There's still one more thing left on the heart. If you notice, you see it has a little bit of rough texture. We try to make it like that so it looks a bit realistic, and yeah, that's basically it. So for us to do that, we go back to this to shape, and we select the first heart, and we could add the texture directly on the heart, or we could just generate another shape, put it inside there and add the texture. But for us to not waste time, let's just add it on the heart. So select the heart, you go to your effects menu. Another effects menu, you come down to noise, another noise, you say add noise, and here you add your texture. You can see we're using a black texture by default. You could choose to make it a bit like closer to the red, so it's not all that black. You can just take it a bit above like that, so it kind of like blends, it looks a bit reddish, and that's nice. Say okay. You do the same thing for this one. You go to effects, you say noise, add noise, and yes, you use the same texture or a darker one, whichever one. So you can see now that it looks really nice like that with that effect. Alright, so we've achieved the heart, and the next thing we want to achieve is the hand. Right now, for the hand, I could not, well, if you have a very decent phone, you could do like me. For the hand, I did something. I just took a picture of my own hands, because I tried to search on Google, but it was taking me longer than I wanted. So I just took a very good phone with a decent camera, and I took 3 pictures, and I ended up with one. You can see, right? So I think I used this one. This is one I used. So for this one, you drag it in. It's quite big because it's an Android file, so it's quite big. So you go to your properties bar to reduce it. You just make sure that this lock ratio is locked, and then you could do on the scaling, you could do just scale it to 5%. Yeah, 5% looks cool. So right now we have this scale down to 5%. This picture has a very high quality, so we could choose to reduce it. If we go to bitmaps and we say convert to bitmaps, and then we do 72, we do 150, or we do 200. Let's say 200. Well, it's bad, it looks a bit bad. Let's try converting to 300. Okay, fine. So 300 it is. So we select this picture, then we go to effects. What I want to do with this picture right now is I'm trying to achieve this hand holding the both shapes, in place, right? So we need to get this hand. We need to extract it from the background. So I'll go to page 2. Remember, we are doing everything in CorelDRAW like we said. So for us to extract this background, we select the image, and we go to bitmaps, or do that from the properties bar since it's already a bitmap. So select Trace Bitmap, or rather click on the tiny arrow, come down to outline trace, and say low quality image. So let's start with that. So for low quality image, you could search a before and after preview so you can see what is happening here. What we are trying to do here right now is we're trying to vectorize the shape. So we have this low quality image right here, so we increase the detailing and reduce the smoothing, and yeah, I think this looks cool. Let's increase the smoothing a bit so it smoothens out a bit. I think that's all for it, because it looks pretty much the same to me. What we are trying to do is make sure that what we are getting from the vectorized version is similar to what we have on the hand, so that we can trace it out using this. So with this, I think we are good to go. So right now we just say OK, and then we get a trace. Now we've traced the image, so we pull it out, we'll select it, and we hold shift or control. You hold control and then move it out to the side and drop it. And the next thing we want to do is we want to ungroup. You can see that it has actually converted all this raster image, which is made up of points, into a vector image which is made up of shapes, right? So right now we want to extract the hands from it. So we select this shape and we ungroup it because it's by default is grouped. So we ungroup everything and then we start deleting carefully. We could do this easily in Photoshop, just remove the background, but right now that would defeat the purpose of trying to achieve the whole design in CorelDRAW. So we need to do everything here. So we start extracting and we start removing, deleting, making sure that what we are deleting is not touching the skin, right? That the skin is not affected. So you can see this part, you can see how it goes into the skin. When I delete, it deletes parts of the skin. So we undo that. Make sure we don't do that. We are going to work around it one way or the other. So we select the ones that are not linked to the skin and we delete them. So yeah, we've gotten pretty much that area. You can see that we are deleting everything that is the background. If this background was like a uniform color, if I took this picture on a very neutral background, it would have been way easier to extract. So in case you're trying to do the same thing like me, make sure you're working on, maybe you're taking a picture of your hands, or on a neutral background where it will be easier to extract the picture from the background, and you will not have things like you see this where the brown is kind of like clashing and now it's interfering with our design. So you want to make sure you're taking your picture in a very neutral background so that it makes it easier for you to extract the image from the background. So in my own case, I think I'm doing a pretty good job still right now. That's 3 planes passed right now. So we are almost done with this, and you can see it's slow work, but it's gainful work. At the end of the day, you're going to achieve what you want, which is very important. So we've taken out everything and now we're left with just this shape. So how do we extract this shape? It's simple. We go to our line tools. Let's use something like the polyline tool, and then we click somewhere along the lines of the skin and just create a straight drag down. Is this nice? This looks nice. Just down. There's no need. We're going to cut everything out. So let's join it here, and then take this and hold shift, select the line, and then do trim. Right, go to a property bar and trim it off. Yeah, so but there's this extra too, and part of the skin, but I don't like it. So let's just select this, hold shift, select that one as well. Select this, hold shift, select that one, and do trim as well. Yeah, and then I think everything looks cool. So you can see, right? So you select this whole shape, and well, you could choose to group it, Ctrl G, and then you could go to I'm grouping it so that I'll easily get the shape. So you could go to effect, you could go to object, and under object you go to shaping. Under shaping, just do boundary. It will create a boundary around it, right? So you can see we've generated a boundary around the original shape. For our boundary, you can still work on the boundary and correct some things. You can select all the nodes and do reduce nodes, so it will reduce unnecessary clusters of nodes, and then you can grab this one, move it out, hold control so it stays straight, and move it into the original. The reason I'm maintaining the line is so that I don't have to start adjusting the heights. I only adjust it horizontally till it matches the skin, right? So something like this. And now you want to reduce the outline thickness so you can see if it's actually touching on the lines directly. So you come down here on the properties bar and say hairline. So it makes it a very thin one, so you can see if there are spaces there, you notice. And I think I want to remove all these nodes here, so I'll select all of them and press delete, and yeah, looks cool. So right now I need to push it out a bit, so just hold control and do a half push. It doesn't still give it to me, so I'll hold this and hold control and just move it in a bit till I achieve that. So I think right here it looks cool. So you can see that this part looks cut, but that is the way I wanted it, I intended it to be. So I actually, because you notice I cut it out from there. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to get all these parts, and this is still cool. I think my hand is a bit too fat there, so let's just leave it like that. So right now, selecting this shape, you hold shift to select the original image. Then you intersect it. You will create an object from where they overlap. Just to recap, you select the shape first, the shape we've created, hold shift, you select the background, that's the image, and then you do your intersect, because you're using the shape to intersect the picture. Otherwise you're going to get something else. So with that, you whatever you've generated, you move it out. You can see we have the image moved out, extracted from the background, right? And this image is just it has been extracted, but it still has every other thing left. So what you need to do is you need to go to your effect and flatten it. I don't have to show you why, but you just do this. Go to your effect, flatten it. Once you flatten it, now it's cropped. It is cropped. So now you have this. So you can now delete everything you've done here. You can delete this one, you can delete this one, you can delete the real image, and then we have this guy that we're going to be working with. For this guy, you can rotate, and face it this way, and probably reduce it, So for it to look like you're holding on to the heart, you have to bend it some more. I think this is the right angle for it. I'm bringing it down here. Yeah, for the heart, I like the way the heart is positioned. It's not very straight, it's a bit tilted. So you grab this and put it like this. If you notice, you see there are little bits of background still showing. I've already shown you how to do that. We could still work it out. If we want to make it more perfect or correct, we could still work it out. I don't know if that is necessary because we need to achieve this very fast, but let's just try it. You could use our, let's say, B-spline, and we could select the background like this. If you're really interested, I'm sure you got yours correct, but if you did not, for one reason or the other, you could just use your B-spline and extract. So you keep going with your B-spline tool, and yeah, you make sure that you're taking out everything. Make sure you're taking out everything. So all the way to this point you go, and then you go around and you turn, and then you join it back here. And for this, you don't need to reduce the hairline, but you could do that just to see. Then you could select it, hold shift, select your image, and you could just do a trim this time around, or a back minus front. Then you have this. Then you can go to your effect again and flatten, and that's it. So right now, there's something else we need to do. We need to send this image behind and also turn it black and white, because you can see from here it's also black and white, right? So select the image, go to effect and go to adjust and say desaturate, and then you could still go to effect and then go to adjust, and you could do contrast enhancement, or you could do brightness, contrast, and intensity. So if it's brightness, contrast, intensity, you could reduce the brightness, you could increase the contrast, So we could reduce the brightness, make it a bit darker, so it creates more drama, and then we could say okay. And right now we can send this to the back. Well, you notice, right, if you do control page down, control just to send it one step backward. If you do control page down like twice, you notice that everything goes behind, right? So we need to send we need to have the thumbs sticking out, right? So we can do we could just do control Z to bring it back up. Right, now here what we'll do is, first thing, we'll have to extract or select this image. So we'll select any of our line tools could do this. Just practically make sure we are selecting the big thumb, right? You don't have to be very perfect here. Just go around. I think it's okay to this point. We've generated the shape, so what we do now is to hold shift to select the original object, and then we intersect again. This time around just the thumbs, right? And then we still go to effect and say flatten. Now we could delete this, and we could send. What we just succeeded in doing is generating just the thumb. So right now we could select this one and do control page down again, and it goes behind, and then we have just the thumb, sticking out like that, right? So it's in Photoshop, we'll just mask it, but here we'll have to create another shape. or another object. So this is what we have here. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to add let's just reduce it a little. So we want to add shadows, right, to make it look interactive. So for the shadows, you select this spline. You can start with this one, do a shadow directly under the arms like so. Make this black, remove the outline, then we just go to effects and say blur and do Gaussian blur. And with the Gaussian blur, we just blur it out a little bit. And then send it behind, just control page down like so. And for this other part, we create another set of shadows just directly under the shape like that. Black as well. Remove the outlines, go to effects, do adjust and say do blur and say Gaussian blur as well. And say okay, and then send it down, do control page down till it goes behind. So we have this. So exactly we generated this and the shadows. And if you feel like the shadow is too much, because it might as well be, you could always use your transparency to reduce it. Right? If you feel it's too much, you always use your transparency to reduce it. So select the whole thing you've created like this, the whole thing. Select the whole thing. You do a control D, that's duplicate, and then flip it, hold control, select this area and flip it to the other side. Position it here, bring it up a bit, control page up for the shadow, right? So and then we have this, so you can see it's positioned very well. So we ended up achieving this. You could still twist the arms a bit so they don't just look too symmetrical. You can just move this all the way to this part like this. There you have it. So with all these things generated, you could select all of them. You could right click, you could group, then you could just right click and say power clip inside and you put it inside the box, right? So now it's pasted right inside of the box. I think we've achieved the most important part of this. So the rest things are quite easy. For the other ones, we could just, for this one, we could just add it like an effect. For this circle, so in the middle, select it like this. We create a circle, create a box. Let's do that differently. So create a box, do Control D on the box, grab the duplicate and drop it directly under the box. Just make sure it's still selected, arrange it the way you like, and then keep duplicating like that. So you have like 8 or 7 of them, just enough to fill the circle. Then you highlight it and center it, press C, and then you can just group it and bring it into the circle and select everything and intersect. So just select everything and do an intersection, and then remove your intersection out and you delete the rest. So you bring it here and you make it white, and then you remove the outlines by right clicking here or going to the properties bar, say none, and then you can use the transparency on it just a little so it just feels transparent a bit. Yeah, so you have this here. And then let's just add the text. So for the text, we have to select Happy Valentine's from all of us at Metro Health. So just type your HAPPY Valentine's, or Valentine's like that. See, from all of us at Metro Health. I like to type my text out actually, or get the copy out first before for anything, so that we can have this already. So yeah, we just break this Control K, then select Happy Valentine's. We use this font called Austin Pen. pardon the background noise, so it's like this, always like this. So do your happy Valentine's like so. So let's just make the happy really small. Let's make the V a bit small so it doesn't interfere. Oh, backspace VA. So we have happy Valentine's, right? And then we could do. I think it looks cool already. Let's use the grayed out text so they don't feel too imposing. Alright, so happy Valentine's, you see, from all of us at Metro Health. We use 10 points or something. We fit it the way it is here. Make it centered. We center this, we center, position it here. We use our shape tool to push this a bit closer like that. We use a very nice font like Nexa regular. Or we leave it as Arial. It's softer. So for one of us at Metro Health, I think there is an exclamation here. So hold Shift and press 1. And then we have this. So for the stuff, for the box, we can remove the outline to say none. Remember, I've given it a white color. But I feel like this white is just there, so maybe we need to add a bit of noise to like make it more interactive. So go into the box. How do we go into the box, by the ways? Whenever you power clip an object into a box, that box becomes a frame. So to go into the frame, the easiest and fastest way is to hold your control and click on the frame. Once you do that, you go in. If you want to come out, you hold your control and click outside the frame, or you click on finish. Right? So select a box within the frame, draw a box. You can give it a white feel, and you can remove the outline. We will go to effects and we'll go to noise, and then we could do add noise. And this time around, use like gray, not red. Use a grayish noisy spike, and then let's see it. Let's see how it is. Yeah, it looks really cool. So we'll say okay, and then we'll do shift page down like that. So I think I would want to apply a bit of transparency on the noise so it doesn't affect the whole site. Let's see how it works. Yeah, so it looks cool. So happy Valentine's from all of us at Metro Health. If you're not doing it for a brand, you could go with nice colors like this and just make it really pop, And then if you're not doing a brand color, and then for this we could write the we could do this. We could do. Let's just take a text here and do Control D, bring it down here, then do Control A and do www.metrohealthhmo.com and just Control click, and let's just reduce this to like 7 points, and let's flip it right, hold Control until it straightens, and put it here. And we could use a lighter color, because it's a lighter gray, because we're trying to make it like a watermark. So bring it down, right, and we add a box. The box is too fat, so we reduce this and we give it similar colors too. Remove the outline, set it to none, and then center it on this. Let's make this bold a bit so we can see it. We see it at least. Nah, it doesn't look nice being bold. I think it looks a bit intimidating. So let's make it light. And for this thing we achieved here, we could just from here you can see it's actually thinner, and then there is a transparency applied to it. So we could slim it down a bit and then apply transparency. Just select your transparency, click here and drag to the end or towards the end, and you get something you really like that. So yeah, so you can see that. So select this, do a Control G to group them, or rather first, before you group them, select this. You need to center them because they don't look centered on each other. So let's just make this one fatter a bit, just a little bit fatter. Then select this and press C, right, to center them. And then Control G. And now you need to center it on the document. So you hold Shift, select your document by clicking on it and press E to center it vertically. You select this, you make a Control D, duplicate, and then you bring it here. And you flip it vertically like this. Notice how it's bending, so you flip it horizontally as well. Now it's facing the right direction. So you ungroup this, and if you change this to, I think there's a date there, so you can do 14-02-2022. Yeah, it's a bit late, yeah, we're a bit behind the times. And this one could be bold. You can just push it all the way down here. Hold Shift, select this and press C to center it again, and then G, Control G to group it, and then hold Shift, select the box and press E to align it to the center again. And that's pretty much it. We have some other effects like a logo. I could just borrow this logo from here. If you have any logo you're working with, you should have their logo as your watermark and paste it. So I'll just take that logo, you can always import the logo. If you want me to do that, you can just go to any folder. Let's say in my case that downloads, I should have Metro. Yeah, so I see the logo here, so you can just drag it in. It's really big. Just reduce the size. Was it necessary? I think it is. So reduce the size and dump it somewhere here. As a watermark, you can just align it to the right. And then you need to add some other spectacular stuff. Well, not really spectacular, things like this. So you want to do them. You can see this one, we have it here already. So you could go back there, select, go to page 2, select this one, do a Control D, bring it all the way up here and change it to a purple bluish color. That's the color for the logo. Mind you, you want to take a color directly. One easy way to do this, I want to remove the transparency, so I just set it to none. So one easy way to grab a color is select this, go to the brand image, pick their logo color, and apply. Since we've already applied one here, you can see down here on the documents palette, so click on it and apply to all of them. And we can reduce this, and we can just tilt it a bit so it doesn't look straight. And some other things we have, like this circle on this power whatever, so we can just do the power on by using polyline. We just do zap like that and join it here. No biggie, right? No biggie at all. And we can duplicate this and just flip it, maybe make it smaller, slimmer, give it a little bit, just give it a little bit of difference. Sorry, my voice is dropping. So we can just remove all this, and yeah, looks pretty cool. Make it gray and black like that. Maybe it's gray, maybe it's a little bit dark, just to give it that zing. That zing, right? And then we just add a circle, just a small circle somewhere, randomly. Let's give it that same color and maybe lighten it a bit. Remove the outlines. And that's pretty much it. I know it didn't take us much time, right? Did it? So yes, we have achieved that design. You make sure that this thing is centered, because it's good it's centered, or sometimes it doesn't have to be very perfect, because the little imperfections will actually make it really cool and stand out. So right now we have this design done, and you can see how we were able to manipulate the hands to achieving this whole shape. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up and drop a comment, and I'm also expecting you to ask me questions anywhere you're confused as to how I was able to achieve it. I can answer, I can reply that in the comments. And for those of us that might be a bit confused about how we're able to extract the image from the background, I have a tutorial there. I might be showing the link at the top of this video, and you can see how we can extract backgrounds or images from backgrounds using just CorelDRAW, right? So everything here is CorelDRAW. It's a build up from CorelDRAW from beginning to end, and I hope you really enjoyed it.